Are you sick of missing all your shots here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, or shooting an animal and having to track it 10 miles across the map? Well, miss no more, my Frenjamins, because in this video, ya boy Squid is to the rescue. No, not really. I kind of suck at shooting too, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone does a little bit. But as an in-real-life hunter and someone who has years and years of experience of shooting all different types of animals in Call of the Wild, which, in case you couldn't tell, is a highly realistic hunting simulation, we're gonna take some of the IRL knowledge that I have, and a lot of the knowledge that I've learned after 8 years of playing this game, and put it all on the table today so that way you guys know absolutely every single shot placement for 90% of the animals here in Call of the Wild. Certain animals like birds are kind of self-explanatory, blast and hope one of the pellets hit them, but certain animals like deer and bigger game animals are really challenging. And even with an overpowered gun and skills and perks, it's still sometimes a really big challenge to take them down, and that is exactly what this video is for. Not only are we going to talk about guns today, but we're also going to talk about some archery here in a little bit. So if you guys are ready and you want to learn something today, let me know down below in the comment section. Do you suck at shooting? I think we all do just a little bit, but there's definitely always room for improvement, okay? So without further ado guys, as always, my name is Squid. If you're new here, welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm a 16-year-old content creator pretty much doing this as a full-time job. And my goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. If you guys want to help me reach that, it would be very much appreciated. If you do in fact learn something today, it would really help me out if you guys could go down there and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get there, guys. We broke 20k last year. We can do it. 50,000 subscribers, guys. Let's do it. Without further ado, wasting no more of you guys' time, let's go ahead and dive right into today's banger. Alrighty boys, I don't know what's going on, why I got so many tiny bucks on my map. I guess the last thing I did shoot off of it was a great one with Kendall Gray, so that might have something to do with it, but obviously the species of choice today is the Wattle. So it is very important that right off the bat you do understand the anatomy of just your standard white-tailed deer, because once you understand the anatomy of a whitetail, you're going to understand the anatomy of pretty much any species in the game. It's really similar. Obviously, yes, there's going to be some differences. Some species have a bigger heart, some species have a smaller heart, some species have bigger lungs, some species have smaller lungs. But the majority of animals that stand on 4 legs, this is going to be relatively similar, and the white-tailed deer is just for an example purpose today. So first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and toss a graph up on screen for you guys right now. Definitely not sponsored, by the way, but this is from Onyx Hunt. Hey, hit me up if you guys want to sponsor the channel. Hit me up, man. Onyx Hunt is goated. And as you can see, there are 5 main focal points here. The main focal point being the pink chunk there, which is the deer's lungs. This is the main shot that you're going to be taking. On a lot of different shooting angles, lungs are where you want to aim. We're going to talk about shooting angles here in just a second. We have a nice herd of whitetail out here with plenty of good examples for different shooting angles. But lungs are the #1 shot that people take because lungs are obviously an extremely vital organ. They need them to breathe. Kind of important. Next, we have the heart, which is located basically center chest under the lungs. Exact same thing in the game, by the way. Usually when they're facing you, you want to aim dead center bottom chest. That's right where the heart is. That will be instant death. Guaranteed heart shot, pretty much. Heart shots are also very challenging, but they're definitely the most lethal shot you can possibly take. Next on the list, we have liver. Liver is considered a vital organ in the game, and it definitely is in real life. So you will pass the harvest check, and you will get trophy integrity if you do hit the animal, at least in the liver. Usually this happens when your shot's just a little bit far back. Lastly, if you're too far back, you'll eventually make it into the stomach and intestines, and this is where you'll mess up the trophy. You will not pass the harvest check. Clearly those are vital organs, but in real life, you definitely don't want to be aiming there. You want to be aiming lungs, heart, liver at worst. So, now that you guys understand the anatomy of the white-tailed deer, definitely take a screenshot of that. It's relatively the same thing for most species that stand on 4 legs. I mean, even the tigers, the lions, the boar, the feral goats, it's all relatively similar. It's just smaller or larger depending on the species. Okay, so now that you guys understand the anatomy of a white-tailed deer, let's start to talk about some different shooting angles. So we're going to start with the most common shooting angle, and that is broadside. Now right now we're talking about broadside eye level, because obviously we're on the ground, we're not elevated. I'm going to be overlaying charts on the screen while talking in this guide, so hopefully you guys will be able to see what I mean there. Elevated is going to be for tree stand and bow hunting, or just tree stand hunting in general. There are some good bucks. which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So for eye level, I'm sure you guys can all see on the chart exactly where you want to aim at. That there is the sweet spot. Got another good buck coming in here now. Another one. But in my personal opinion, if you're zeroed perfectly, whether you're 150, 200, 300, I would never aim that low. That's honestly quite low. Yeah, you're probably going to hit the heart, but you have to be extremely precise. If you aim that low in that exact spot every single time, you're not going to hit the heart every single time. It's too small of an organ to hit. When I have a deer that's perfectly broadside like this one here, I almost always aim dead center lungs. If I'm confident that I can get the heart shot, like he's standing still or something, now he's kind of quartering to us, then I'll probably go for the heart shot. This one's perfectly broadside now. But usually, I'll just aim, dead center lungs, it'll take him down absolutely perfectly. Now you'll notice that I aimed a little bit forwards there, and it almost looked like I hit him in his chest. That's because I led the shot. I pulled the trigger, and it was on his chest, but by the time the bullet got there, he was already moving, so he literally walked right into it, and I guarantee you that bullet landed dead center lungs. If they're standstill broadside, obviously you're not going to need to lead the shot. The faster they're moving, the further you need to lead the shot. Shot leading is something you'll eventually just get used to. I'm sure if you've played any game like Call of Duty or something, then you'd understand how shot leading works. It can be annoying sometimes because you miss a lot while doing it, especially if they're running, but with some practice you can get really, really good at it. Now if you're really, really close, like 100 meters or closer, and they're perfectly broadside, meaning flat broadside to you, and you have a gun that you know is powerful enough to get that heart shot, aiming right where Onyx wants you to aim on the graph here is not that bad of an idea. In fact, if you're using a gun like the 300 or something, I'd aim right on that little, what would you even call it, his elbow or shoulder blade or something? Here, let's use this thing as an example, even though he's 200 meters away. I'd aim right there, because that's pretty much going to guarantee a heart shot. Let's see if Squid can do it from 300 meters away. This is perfectly broadside. We're 0 to 300 here. We're going to try to get this heart shot. So right, oh, now he's moving. They're kind of unpredictable. But usually, if he'll just slow down for me, thank you, dang it. It's always nice when the deer actually cooperate with you. It's actually getting closer to us, this might be meant to be. Usually for heart shots, you just want to aim as low as possible without obviously getting into guts or missing the shot. Stop. But yeah, I think you guys get the point. If the deer's stand still and it's close enough to you to where you can steadily aim right on that kind of like front shoulder there, right where my crosshair is, that's going to get it right in there to the heart. And as I said, actually we were kind of far back because he was walking, so maybe I should have led the shot just a hair further. But like I said, dead center lungs, pretty much. That is a beautiful broadside shot there. As you can see, he was like that from us. That's how the bullet entered and came out the other side. Nice and beautiful. Now, I did not pass the harvest check because I'm using the wrong gun just to take them down faster. If it were a trophy, obviously I would use the proper weapon, but this is a great one grind, so I use a stronger weapon purposely. Alright, my friends, so frontal shots. I think we're going to use one of these moose as an example, as they have huge hearts, and their hearts are easy to hit. So, I'm going to go ahead and put up another graph on screen for you guys. When they're facing you frontally like that, usually what you want to do is go for a heart shot when they're facing you. Otherwise, I'd just wait until the animal turns and try to take at least a quartering to or away shot or a fully broadside shot, which obviously is the goal most of the time. Broadside is the way to go. They're easiest to hit that way. But if you want to go for a heart shot, I think you actually make more in game if you get a heart shot. It's just more of a flex, I guess. It's funner to see as well because they drop instantly. What you're going to want to do is go ahead and aim at the bottom of their chest. The graph that's on screen, I believe, is focused more towards if you're a little bit further away, that's where you'd want to aim and the bullet would drop, or maybe that's for like a frontal lung shot or something. I really don't understand that. The heart is much lower down, but that general area is where you want to be aiming. That'll get the front of his lungs for sure on that graph, but to get that perfect heart shot, usually where you want to aim is right as soon as he picks up his head here. Beautiful lynx in the background there. Right there. And I didn't get the heart shot. I still got lungs though because he's dropping. See, that's the thing. It's fun too. You get to mess around with it. Heart shots are a challenge to get. Big challenge. Let's go see what happened. But yeah, that general area, low chest. I'll show you guys the actual anatomy in game of a moose here, and it's usually pretty similar for most animals. The only difference is moose hearts are giant, making them a little bit easier to shoot actually. Okay, so like I said, we definitely got a lung or a vital of some sort here. I'm assuming I was too high, because we were 0 to 150 and he was like 120, I think. So, let's go ahead and find out here. No, that actually should have been a heart shot. What do you... Somehow we got right lung, but you can see the cone is definitely inside of the right side of that heart. It just didn't register. Well, He was kind of quartering away from us apparently, more like that instead of straight on like that, so yeah, that's kind of sad. Could have been a heart shot there, but you guys see right where you want to aim. The heart is huge on a moose. You want to aim right dead center of their chest. Low dead center, right where my cursor is. And when you heart shot a moose, you'll know it because they take 2 or 3 steps and they drop instantly. The health will be going down super quick. So yeah, again, I guess that graph kind of does make sense. At least on a species where the heart is huge. For a moose, the heart goes all the way up into here. So yeah, right around that bullseye on that graph is right where you want to be aimed for a heart shot. Whether you aim lower or higher is your choice. Dead center is going to be the sweet spot to avoid making mistakes. No matter what, you should always at least hit a lung from frontal, unless you get really unlucky and you get it in between the 2 lungs, which is yes a thing in Call of the Wild, but I don't think it's a thing in real life. I'm pretty sure as long as you hit center, you'll get a lung, because they kind of wrap around. So it might not be as lethal of a lung shot as if you hit it in the side. So yeah, 870 bucks there. That's a frontal shot. That's pretty much the only thing you can do with a frontal shot besides headshot him and ruin the trophy. In Call of the Wild, that actually surprisingly doesn't drop them either. It barely even phases them when you shoot them in the head. Very, very weird thing that happens in the game, but yeah, IRL, if you headshot a deer, it's probably not going to go anywhere. Alrighty, boys, so quartering towards at eye level. Obviously being on the ground. Excuse the annoying geese in the background. That's just, they're everywhere in this map. This moose out here is quartering towards us. Perfect example here. And where you'd want to aim with a moose that's, you know, this big, or just any moose really, is just about right where Onyx is telling you guys to. But moose they can absorb a lot of lead, and it won't even phase them almost. Really what you want to be looking out for here is you can see his almost like, I don't know, we were talking about that earlier, shoulder blade or elbow or something, I don't really know what that would be. Right there where my crosshair is, right there, that's a big bone, and that's a hard bone to get through even with the 300 or big gun. So what I do when there's a moose quartering towards me like this is I usually aim a wee bit high, kind of in that little crevice right there where my crosshair is, right there. Ooh, if he's going to turn like that, that's a really good opportunity. Put it right there. I was 0 to 150, so that might have been a bit low, but that should have been, and it was. That would have been his right lung, right? I don't know, he was backwards from us, but we got a single lung. Now I got to find out. Yeah, that would have been his right lung. And that is pretty much exactly what I would do for one that's quartering towards me. If he was quartering towards facing the other way, so we came in from his, what would be his left side, and we were shooting kind of more that way towards him, it would be the exact same thing just on the other side of the body. I find again that it takes them down a lot faster when you kind of aim a little bit high into that crevice. It's just less bone to get through. You never want to be going through bones if you can help it. It just slows your round down and will do way less damage. Okay, so quartering away. Onyx actually didn't have a graph on this. Most of the time you don't want to take a quartering away shot. If you can help it, you want to either try to get broadside or at least quartering 2. But it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. We got a really good example out here. Nice level 3 bull. We're going to try to get up a wee bit closer. He's currently 270 meters, so yeah, we're going to get quite a bit closer. Well, now he's turned quartering to us. Almost broadside at that point. I love it when the animals don't cooperate with me. This guy here's kind of quartering away. This is straight up a butt shot. You never want to take that unless you're trying to Texas heart shot something for a video or something. Yeah, that's just a terrible idea. I'd like to try to mirror the graph the best that I can. It's quartering away from the left side, but again, it would literally be the exact same thing on this right side. You just got to think about it. Like, as you can see, the green dot quartering away on the left side, looking directly into his left lung. You're going to want to aim dead center of that left lung. Oh, he's starting to realize we're here. It's the exact same thing on the other side. You just want to aim right into that, what would be his right lung. And I guess I'm going to try to mirror the graph here and widen up just a hair and try to get into his left lung. Should I just Texas heart shot him? Shot placement guide. Squid freaking Texas heart shot's a great one, Moose. That would be hilarious. Okay, well, he kind of knows we're here now, and now he's turning. Maybe we can get him to turn back away from us. Nothing's going on here. I want to heart shot him so bad right now, I'm not going to lie. Quarter back away. There you go. Okay, perfect. Right there's where you want it. That was a little bit forwards, but again, he was already walking. So what I did was I led the shot just a hair. I mean, we were so close to him, I led the shot by like maybe an inch or 2. And what he did is he walked right into that bullet. So that shot should be a beautiful, with as fast as he just went down, probably a beautiful double lung shot. He was quartering away. He wasn't quartering away super hard, so I actually managed to get that double lung. Again, we weren't that far as well, so the penetration is going to be a lot higher than if we were 200 meters. But that should have been, given the fact he walked right into it and I led the shot just a hair, should have been a beautiful double lung shot there. Perfect example of a quartering away animal. With a whitetail, yeah, you probably would have dropped that. You can also do quartering away heart shots if you want. Just with a moose, I wouldn't recommend it. It's going to be a big challenge. You just want to aim right here, quite low, and you're gonna need to rely on going through that, whatever that, shoulder blade, elbow, whatever the heck this part of them is. I think it's called the scapula or something. That's a pain to get through on a moose. So, as I said, look at that. We were actually high. He was 113 meters and we were 0 to 150, so that doesn't surprise me. I was just simply zeroed wrong. I should have aimed lower. But what I want you guys to pay attention to is how perfectly centered this bullet went in. That's how harsh the angle was. Let's line that up dead center there. That's how harsh the angle was. He was almost fully away from us. It's a perfect example. If you look at the graph, it's almost identical. That's exactly how he was right there. And try to hold him there if I can. And then there's the graph. Honestly, it's more harsh in the game than it was on the graph. And look at that. I had it right here. That's at least where I felt like, right in that crevice, because I knew he was walking. And he walked right into it, went about an inch back because we were so close. If he was further, I would have led that shot a little bit more. And we are dead center. I mean, dead smack center in these lungs. And that is exactly the goal here. Now, if you wanted to, like I said, you can aim, I guess you could technically aim right behind this crevice thing, just lower down. Yeah, you're going to need to be a little bit into it, though. I keep turning it off and turning it on just to see. You're going to need to be a little bit into that scapula or whatever. And that's a big bone, and that's a big chunk of cartilage and flesh you need to get through to get into that heart. So if he's quartering away and it's something like a moose or a bear, you're going to be better off just trying to get the double lung. Y'all seen how far he went down, or how fast he went down, excuse me. He definitely did not run very far at all, and we got almost $1,000 for that. Beautiful, beautiful example there. That's probably the best shot of the day so far. Let's go see what we got on that first moose we got here, which would have been our quartering 2. Okay, now for this guy, we managed to get right lung shot. Yes, I remember talking about that. Okay, and look how beautiful that was too. So, the angle that he was from us, you gotta picture him being straight without itching himself there, whatever he's doing. Zoom him in here. That's the angle he was from us. He was that harsh. Just picture his head being straight right now. That's how harsh he was. I think that would almost be identical to the graph. He was at a really, really harsh angle there. And as you can see, when he turned himself, that kind of widened our angle up. That gave me much more of a canvas to shoot at, I guess we could say. Again, aim right behind that crevice thing on a moose because it's so chunky and hard to get through here. Put it right behind the crevice. He was 210 meters. I was 0 to 150. I think I remember aiming quite high just to make sure there's a bullet drop in there. Drop down almost dead center of the lung, height-wise, but left to right, beautiful. Absolutely dead center. That is the goal with the quartering 2 shot. Again, if this moose was much closer, like 150, even 100 meters, you could have easily got through there, got that other lung, just like we did with that closer moose that was quartering away from us. So that is the perfect example of a quartering 2 moose. If this were a whitetail or something, from that far, easily would have dropped it. Went through, double lung, came out the other side. Whitetail are a lot easier to shoot. Probably wasn't a very good example using moose today, but honestly, I think it was meant to be. It just shows you the difference. You know, we shot some whitetail at the beginning. They're a lot easier to shoot. You can shoot them right through that scapula bone, elbow bone, whatever, and it really won't even affect them, even with an ethical gun. It's pretty easy to get through on a whitetail. And yeah, those were some beautiful examples of quartering shots. Now, we just have to take everything we learned today and take it into matter for tree stand hunting. With tree stand hunting, there's a lot to worry about. Now, this isn't going to be a full guide for using bows, where you got to worry about the wind blowing your arrow and whatnot. But I will say this, when you're in a tree stand, and I'm going to overlay some graphs for you guys, everything is pretty much the same besides the fact that you have to know what your arrow is going to do. Your arrow is always, almost always at least, traveling down. Even if you're up in a tree stand and it's way out in front of you like that, maybe you're using a crossbow or something, you're still going to be shooting on a downward angle. Because you're up in a tree stand, you're always going to be shooting down. So what does this mean for shot placement? Well, I'm going to go ahead and scribble on this little graph on screen for you guys right now and try to explain it in the best way possible. First and foremost, I would never suggest taking a frontal shot, ever, from a tree stand. Unless you're crazy, I would never suggest it. If it's quartering towards you, you're going to want to aim back behind that leg because you're using an arrow. You want to avoid all bones. You only want to go for long shots here. Heart shots with a bow are just not, they're not doable. You can, they're just not doable though. Crossbows is a little bit easier, but most of us are going to be using compounds in this game. For quartering towards, you're going to want to aim dead center of the lung, but a lot higher than you usually would. Not too high, you don't want to get into the spine there, but you want to aim almost at the top of the lung because you got to think about where your arrow is going to come out. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky for me to explain, and I'm going to kind of have to simulate it with my scribbles here, as you guys can see on the graph. For quartering towards, you can see the yellow dot is where the arrow entered. I drew a red line down, and the blue dot is where the arrow exits. And as you can see, you got a picture looking at the deer from the other side. The exit will be either in the center or the bottom of what would be his left lung, because we shot at the right lung, the high part of the right lung. You're on that upwards angle, so the arrow's going to be traveling diagonal down. So it enters his lung and it'll come out, assuming that you're at the proper bow distance of about 25-40 meters at most. It will come out either dead center or the bottom of his lung on the other side, depending on how harsh your angle is. For quartering away, it's the exact same thing. You're going to want to aim a little bit higher there. You can see where it enters with the yellow dot. The red line's I'm going to make an honest attempt to try to simulate it going through at least. And then you'll again have to picture it on the other side of the animal coming out at the blue dot. As you can see, it enters, goes through the deer, and comes out lower. So you're ripping his lungs to absolute shreds, which is the goal with archery hunting. And that's why archery hunting is so lethal, but it's only lethal when you're really, really close. Otherwise, it's a pain. For broadside, again, it's pretty much the same thing. If you're archery hunting on the ground, it's pretty much just standard. Really, the only thing you got to worry about is the wind and blowing your arrow, so you might have to lead your shot. That's for a bow guide. Watch some of my bow hunting videos where I talk about that. For broadside in a tree stand with a bow, which is what most people are doing in a tree stand, hunting with a bow, or even if you're using a gun in the tree stand, all these, like, how the bullet goes on a downward angle, this is all going to apply to you. I'm just assuming most of you guys are using archery. The arrow or your bullet is going to enter broadside. Again, you want to aim a little bit higher than usual. It's going to be traveling on a downwards angle, and it's going to come out either mid or lower lung. On his left side, that would be, depending on how harsh your angle is. So that's really all you need to know for tree stand hunting. You just need to really understand what your projectile is going to do, whether that's an arrow, a bolt, a bullet. You just need to understand exactly what your projectile is going to do. And that, my friends, is pretty much going to sum up our shot placement guide. If you have any questions or confusion, please let me know in the comments below. I do reply to pretty much everybody's comment. Join my Discord server if you guys haven't already. There's thousands of people in there, no exaggeration, thousands, that would be more than willing to help you out of the kindness of their own heart. Shot placement is a very tricky thing to get the hang of, but once you do get the hang of it, I can basically do it with my eyes closed. As long as I know I'm lined up, I can do it with my eyes closed. So without further ado, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please let me know down below by smashing that like button and subscribing, as it is very, very much appreciated. And it does help out a ton with the YouTube algorithms. Again, my goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to be a part of that goal and help me reach it, it would be very, very much appreciated as a 16-year-old content creator trying to do this as my full-time job, to hit that subscribe button down below. As always, my name is Squid, you guys are watching Squidster Outdoors, and we'll see you in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.